Welcome to Code with Miracle channel. In last video we learned how to implement rock paper scissor game. Let me try to run that game. This is how it will look. First it will ask for the set. Here I am going to give 3 sets so that we can play this game 3 times. I am going to give rock as my weapon. This time I lost the game. Okay, let me try to give scissor. This time game got tie. Last attempt. This time I am going to give paper. Here you can see this is how it works. After the game gets over, it will try to print the result like the number of wins, number of losses, and the ties. If you want to learn how we implemented this rock paper scissor game, then please check this video comment section. There I have added link to that rock paper scissor game video. Now let's move into guess the number game. Here we are going to guess the number between 1 and 100 in 5 attempts. Let me switch to Firefox. Here you can see I have added a checklist. First we need to get random number between 1 and 100. Let me try to switch to VS Code. Here I am going to import random. First we are going to use this import keyword. Then I am going to type random, which is a module. Let me try to use the random module and generate a random number from the range of 1 and 100. So I am going to use random dot. Here we have randint. Randint function is used to generate a random number, like a random integer between this number, like start and end. Here start and end both are inclusive, so you can use from, can specify 1 and 100. Then I'm going to store this result, this number, to a variable. I'm going to call that variable name as expected underscore number. Let me try to type expected underscore number. I'm going to specify expected underscore number, then equal to. Let's try to print this expected number to verify that everything works fine. I'm going to use print statement. Here I'm going to specify expected number, but after verifying we will remove this number because we don't want to show this number to the user. We will show only when user wins the game or user loses all the attempts. So let me try to run this code. It's a small piece of code. Let me try to specify the file name. The file name is guess the number.py. Here you can see it is giving 72. Let me try to run again. Here you can see this time given 65, 38, then 84. So it is working fine. Let me switch to Google Sheet. So first task is done. Let me try to mark this as done. Let's move into second task, which is get number from the user, convert that into integer. Let me switch to VS Code and explain why we need to convert that into integer. So I'm going to switch to VS Code. Here I'm going to give a enter. Here I'm going to specify this as guess underscore number. This is the variable name we are going to use to determine, to store the number which is given by the user. I'm going to call it as guess underscore number. Okay, then here I am going to use input built-in function. This input built-in function is used to get the input from the user in runtime. I'm going to type guess the number. Let me give the detailed information so that they don't make mistake on the first attempt. I want to make sure that they are trying to enter the number only between the range of 1 and 100. So guess the number between 1 and 100. So I'm going to type this information 1 and 100. Okay, so we have successfully inserted this. Then I'm going to add a print statement. Here I'm going to print. Then I'm going to write a condition. I'm going to use expected underscore number equal to guess underscore number. This is the condition I want to write here. We'll also try to print guess underscore number and expected underscore number so that you will see the difference, like why we need that typecasting, like converting the input to integer. Let me try to run my code. I'm going to run my code again. Here you can see this time the random number generated was 25, so I'm going to give 25 here. I'm going to hit enter. You might expect that it will try to return true 25 25. Let me try to hit enter so that we can see the result. Here you can see it given false 25 25. You might get little confused, like why it is giving false. It is because whenever you provide any input via input built-in function, it will consider that as a string. Let me confirm that for you. I am going to add type. I'm going to use this type, which is also a built-in function. This is used to know the data type of the variable. I'm going to provide the variable name. I'm going to run it again. Before that, I will also try to add a expected number so that we can see what is the type of the expected number, so that it will make sense. I'm going to enter expected number. Then now I'm going to run my code again. Here you will see it is asking guess the number. Let's type 10 because 10 is the random number which has been picked. Here you can see it is giving false and the guess number type is string, expected number type is integer. So that's why it was not matching. Let's do typecast now. Typecasting is very simple in Python. You just need to wrap this with the data type which you want to convert. I want to convert to integer, so I'm going to wrap it with int built-in function. Let me try to run again. This time it given 9, so let's try to give 9. Here you can see this time successfully given the result which we expect, that is it returned true and the data type is also int, so we are good. To make it to make this statement or the message in a presentable way, I'm going to add a colon and space so that we will see that there will have some space here. Let me try to switch to Google Sheet and let's mark this second task as done. I'm going to switch to Google Sheet now. Here, let's try to mark this task as done. Now the next task is handle non-integer values. Let me try to switch to VS Code and I will explain why I have this task. Let me try to run the code again. This time let's try to provide a string or the character, alphabet character. So I'm going to provide a W and hit enter. Here you can see it is providing us the error. So if user provide this kind of value, on that case also we need to handle in our code. So I'm going to wrap this with try and except block. I'm going to open try block and I'm going to indent it. Then here I'm going to wrap this with except. Here we need to specify the exception or else it will work for all the exception. I'm going to specify the exception so that this will catch only the value error exception. If any of the other exception happen, it will throw error. I'm going to type value error, then I'm going to hit enter. Here I'm going to print a message. What I'm going to print is I'm going to copy the same information and I'm going to add here. The information is like this one, the number between 1 and 100. just copy and paste here. I am going to add a prefix invalid input. I'm going to type invalid space input, then I'm going to add colon space. Then let's try to rephrase this sentence. Invalid input should be number. That would make sense. So I'm going to type like this: input should be number. Let me try to remove this unwanted characters. Let me quickly remove this to add space here. Invalid input, and input should be number between 1 and 100. So this makes sense. Okay, let's try to run our code again. This time I'm going to give R. Now if I hit enter, you will see the magic. Here you can see this time it is saying guess number is not found. It is because guess number is outside the scope. That's why it is saying like this. If we bring it inside of try block, it will not say. But let's try to add a default value to the guess number so that when we print, it will use that default value. I'm going to give the default value as 0. Okay, then let's try to run our code again. This time it should not throw any error. I'm going to give a now. Here you can see it is giving false, 0, 21, integer. So it is working fine. Let me try to switch to Google Sheet. This task is also completed. I'm going to mark this as done. Now next what we need to do is handle integer outside range of 1 and 100. Basically we need to handle the integer range. If user types 101 or number greater than 100 or lesser than 1, then we should provide them and retry. So I'm going to use a while loop here. Going to use while. For now let's try to use a boolean. I'm going to use true so that this loop will run in infinite way. So be careful when you use while loop with true. You need to add a condition that can happen in that loop, and there you need to use break, or else it will run infinitely. You will not able to exit the program. Okay, what I'm going to do is while true. So basically if user gives any invalid input, it will ask again and again, because here we have run an infinite loop. In later part of this video we will add a condition to break the loop. For now we are just going to run the code. I'm going to run again. This time I'm going to give e. If I hit enter, you will see like it will try to ask again. It can see it is asking again. This time I'm going to give 4, and it will keep on asking. To exit you need to use Control C, because currently we don't add any condition that can break this loop. So let's try to move to Google Sheet again. Here you can see we have handled the integer range of, okay, we just added a while loop. We didn't handle this. So let me try to switch to VS Code. Here I'm going to add a condition. We try to hit enter. Then I'm going to use a if. Here I'm going to mention that if 1 is greater than or equal to guess number. This is that particular variable where we store the number, and it should be, guess number should be greater than or equal to 100. It is not 1000, it is 100. Let me try to remove this 0. I'm going to add colon. Here I'm going to print a message. For now I'm just going to type a message as success. Let me try to do Control Z, and let's try to type print again. Okay, here I'm going to provide a message to the user. For now I'm just going to type success. We will also have a else part. In else part, I'm going to type failure now. Let me try to use tab because Python works in an indentation way. So we need to use spaces because we don't have curly brace here. In C++, we have braces using which we provide indentation. Here, everything with spaces. I'm going to type failure. Okay, let's try to type failure. I'm going to type failure. Okay, let's try to run our code again. Let's try to provide the input outside of the range. I'm going to provide one, not one. Here you can see it is saying failure. Okay, let's try to provide the data which is between 1 and 100. I'm going to give 100. It is giving success. Let's try to provide 1. Here also it is providing success, so our code is working fine. Now let me try to switch to Google Sheet, and here you can see we have handled the integer of outside range of 1 and 100. So let's try to mark this task as done. Now we are going to implement game logic. Let me try to switch to the first tab. There I've already written the scenarios which we need to implement in our code. The first scenario is we need to handle user. If user provide invalid input, then we should not count that as an attempt and must ask user to add number again. So first we need to create a variable that stores current attempt and the maximum attempt. Then we need to implement this scenario. Let me try to switch to VS Code. Here I am going to create a max underscore attempts, which is a constant variable in our code. This we will not update, so I'm going to use it in uppercase. I'm going to type max underscore attempts. Here we are going to have maximum attempts as 5. Okay, then I'm going to create a one more variable which is a variable that we will update in our code. So I'm going to write it in lowercase. I'm going to mention it as current underscore attempt. Okay, and by default current attempt variable value would be 0. Okay, so we've got this. As per the scenario which we written, here we should not count that as an attempt for the invalid case. So let me try to switch to VS Code. We should consider the attempt only when the input is valid. So we need to add here. I'm going to increase current attempt by 1 because user has attempted this game and their input was valid, so we should check with the conditions, so we can increase the attempt by 1. Okay, so first task is done. I'm going to switch to Google Sheet and I'm going to mark this as done. Okay, let's try to move to second scenario. If user provide input which doesn't fall in expected range, then we must ask user to add number again. Let me try to switch to VS Code and we'll check here. We are asking them again, so that is fine because we are in an infinite loop, so obviously it will try to ask again and again. For now, let's try to mark this task as done and we will handle it in a better way while implementing the rest of the scenarios. Okay, let's try to move to the second case where if guessed number is lesser than the expected number, then we need to print this message. First, let me try to copy this whole string. If copy is not working fine, then we can type. I have no problem. Let me try to try. Not sure, my keyboard is not working fine. and even the mouse not able to copy it properly. Let's type, no problem. I'm going to switch to VS Code. Before that, let's try to understand the scenario. If guess number is lesser than the expected number, let me try to do this again for the last time. If it work, we will try. Yeah, it is working. So copy. If guess number is lesser than expected number and attempt is greater than 0, then print this message. Okay, guess number is lesser than expected number. Okay, let's try to switch to VS Code. Here we are going to add that condition. I'm going to add if. Here I'm going to make guessed number is lesser. So the number which provided by us is lesser than the expected number. So we need to use this greater than symbol. Here we need to specify expected number. Okay, then we need to print this message. I'm going to use this print built-in function, and I'm going to open this double quotes, control V. Okay, we have successfully printed this. The number you are looking for is greater than x y attempts left. Okay, here we also need to make sure that our attempt are greater than 0. So we need to also handle this one. Let me try to add a condition here. I'm going to, maybe we can add later. First, let's try to uh, change this to a valid numbers which is greater than. Okay, here we should not use the expected number, or else user will know. Here we need to use this guess number. So let's try to use guess underscore number. If you use expected number, then they will know the number, and on the next attempt they will try to use and will get succeed. We should not use that expected underscore number. We should use this guess underscore number. I don't know why it is not providing us the suggestion. No problem, let's try to type it fully. Okay, then here we need to uh, provide hint to the user, like how much attempt is left for their game. To get the attempts left, you need to use max underscore attempt. I'm going to use this max underscore attempts. Then we need to subtract this with current underscore attempts. Let me wrap this text so that it will be visible to the user. For that, I need to use Alt Z, I guess. Yeah, I'm correct. I think I pressed twice. Let me try to press again. Yeah, now it looks clean to us. Okay, this scenario is handled. Let me try to switch to Google Sheet and mark this task as done. Okay, try to mark this task as done. What else we have? Next one is also a similar case. If guess number is greater than expected number, then we should print this message. Let me try to switch to VS Code again. Let me try to copy this whole thing. Okay, we use Control C, then I'm going to hit enter. Here I'm going to do Control B. Here we need to use else if. So in Python we don't have else if. Instead we use elif, which is also a shorthand for else if. Here we just need to reverse the condition. Guess number is greater than expected number, so we need to let user know that you guess the your expected number is lesser. So please try to guess guess it in a smaller way. Okay, so let's try to type lesser than here. Okay, so this is done. Okay, then what else we have? Let me try to switch to Google Sheet. This task is also done. If guess number is not matching with expected number and attempts is equal to 0, then we need to print this message. Let me try to copy this message. Okay, okay, we have successfully selected it. I'm going to copy. Let me try to switch to VS Code. Here I'm going to write condition. If I'm going to write condition, what was the condition? If guess underscore number not equal to expected number, this is one condition, and another condition is, let me try to control set. The another condition was current attempt is equal to max attempt. So let me try to type current attempt equal to max attempt. Okay, if this case happens, what we need to do is we need to print this message, because they've uh, they've used all their attempts, and in the final attempt also they were not able to guess the number. So now we can let them know that this is the number you guessed. So let me try to do control B. Here we need to update this X with the expected number. Here we can use expected number because user has played this game and he guessed the wrong number in all its attempt. Now we can show the number to him, no problem. So let me try to use expected underscore number. If you look this code carefully, we have missed a most important case. I hope you have guessed it. The case is, if user guess the number on any of the attempt, then we should break this loop. Okay, basically first we need to add break here, so that if all attempt are used by user, then obviously we need to come out of this loop, or else it will go infinitely, as I said in the beginning of this video. Okay, I'm going to add break. Now here I'm going to add another condition. The condition is, let me try to add here. I think this is the perfect place, I guess. I'm going to add here. I'm going to add else. Here I'm going to use colon. Here I'm going to use a print statement. This is the case where user found the number before the attempt gets reached to the maximum. Okay, uh, before that, to get the message, I'm going to go to Google Sheet. Let me try to see the task or the scenarios. This is handled, so scenario 5 also handled. Let me try to copy this message and clicking this box. Okay, it is not selecting. No problem, I think we can type. Okay, let's try to type. We just need to add this information. You won in this attempt, something like that. I'm going to switch to VS Code. Why it is not switching? It should switch. Yeah, I'm going to type you won in. There I'm going to mention the attempt, like in which attempt you won the game. If it was the first attempt, then we should use current attempt. This is the variable we need to use, which will have the current attempt, so that if user won the game in the first attempt, then obviously we should use this current underscore attempt. Okay, you have won in you won in uh, attempt one, something like that. So we need to add something like this, one in attempt. Okay, I think we're almost close to completion. Let me try to revise this code. We have a while loop. Here we need to add a continue keyword, because if we find out the correct value, on that case what we need to do is we need to use break, because we don't need to run and find it loop, right? Basically the end result would be in two states: either we have won the game or we have reached the maximum attempt. So we need to have two break statement. Here you can have break or not having break is not all, it's not a problem. Just added a break. I think okay. Here also I think here instead of failure we should update this to more meaningful name. I think this should go here, not there. Okay, here we added it for handling the numbers, handling the alphabets. So basically here in this block we have added this except for handling the blocks, like handling the alphabets. So I'm going to write like this is for handling non-integer values. I think that will make sense, like handling non-integer values. Writing comment in your code is good practice, because this will let you know, like if you see your code after a month or year, there is a high chance that you might forgot like why did I write this block, because looking at the code is very difficult to understand like why this code is being written. If you add some comments or the print or console messages, it would make sense the user, okay, they have added this for some reason, we should not remove or we should not update. And this will also help you in future. Let me try to do control z. I think I have wrongly deleted this string. Okay, here I think in try except block we need to use continue, because if user provided a invalid input, then there is no point of running the code, like running the game logic. We should skip this loop. Basically continue keyword is used to skip the current iteration. Break is used to break the whole loop so that it will not go infinitely. I think this is done. Okay, if this number is this, I think everything looks good to me. Let's try to run our code. I'm going to first let's have this print statement enabled. Later we will remove. Once our code looks good, I will remove all this information. I'm going to use Control C. Let me try to run our code. Okay, the number generated, the random number is 34. Let's try to use some negative cases to validate our code. I'm going to use a this time. Here you can say it is saying invalid input. It is working fine. Then let's try to give 101. Now also it should give invalid input. It is working fine. Let's try to give valid input. I'm going to give it as 4. It should print us the message number you are looking is greater than 4. 4 attempts left, so it looks good. Let me try to do this time. I'm going to give it as 50. It should let me know that it is lesser than. Yeah, it is working fine. Let's try to give some random values uh, which is not, which should not match and exit this code. I'm going to give this time 76. This is going to give randomly to check that our attempt loop is working fine or not. I'm going to give 67 and I'm going to give 98. Okay, let's try to hit enter. Now it should break and it should come out of the for loop, sorry, while loop, but it is not getting a break, I guess. It is why. I think here you can see here basically I think we should have break. I think I have wrongly removed a break here. You should have break here, then only it will work. I'm going to add a break statement here. We should break if we are not able to guess the number in maximum attempt. Okay, let's try to add break here. Even this condition is not required. Guess number not equal to expected number. I just added. Without this also it will work fine. Let me try to give control C. I'm going to run the code again. This time let's try to give the input fastly. 54, 55, 56, 67. Okay, we just have one attempt left. Now if I hit enter, it should exit the program. Here you can see it got exited successfully, so this case is working fine. Let's try to see the positive case where user guess the input. I'm going to guess the random number on the first attempt itself, 22. If I hit enter, here you can see it has break the loop and I've printed the message you one in attempt. Let me try to experiment this without printing this expected number. Let's try to comment this. I'm going to comment this one. What else we need to comment? I think the print statement which we added here, this also needs to be commented, then only user will not aware of the input which they need to type to win the game. Okay, let's try to run the code again. Okay, this time we are not sure what the random number is, but let's try to play this game. I'm going to provide 40. Just want to see like in which range it was. It is lesser than 40. Okay, let's try to give 20 to know like which range we want to see. It is lesser than 20. Okay, let's try to give 10. Is lesser than 10. We just have 2 attempt left. I'm going to give 4. I'm not sure whether we are going to win. So it is greater than 4. We just have 1 attempt left. Not sure I'm going to use 8 this time. Sure whether I'm going to win this game. Oh, we lost the game. Here you can see it has successfully printed the message. You didn't find the number and lost. The number was 6. Okay, no problem. We successfully completed this game. We successfully implemented this game in Python. That is more than enough for me. Thanks for watching.